you've seen a recent very strange post by Matthew Brown and you're looking for some answers about what that's all about. And I'm here to try and shed some light on a few things. That's because I'm the content creator who created the image of the strange circle with the letters in it that Matthew Brown screenshotted and used in his X post. I am also the one who popularized the term Aborymon.
What's up, guys? I wanted to make today's video because I feel like it's important for people to understand what exactly is going on here and the direction that things seem to be taking. Matthew Brown's tweet that he posted last week is still making waves on the internet, largely because we haven't heard from him since, but people are starting to decode what he was actually talking about. And I'm specifically speaking about the Enochian magic cipher that he posted. We did a stream about a week ago, not only talking about it, but we found exactly where that screenshot came from. And we looked at the video of the person talking about it. Now, this YouTube creator, his name is Lifting the Lamp. Now, he decoded this cipher. He didn't create it. He alleges that he is one of 2 people in the world who have discovered the name Aborymon, which is what Matthew Brown signed off his tweet with and was included in that screenshot. Now, Lifting the Lamp didn't create this cipher, okay? This cipher was really created back in the 16th century by a man named John Dee. John Dee was a mathematician, astronomer, astrologer, occult philosopher, and he didn't necessarily create this sigilum meth, which is what you're looking at here, but he basically adapted it based on visions and communications that he believes that he had with archangels. Yes, this is the kind of road that we are going down, and this is why I feel like it's important to talk about it, because we all felt very compelled when we listened to Matthew Brown speak with Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp.
You are not free. And this reality has far more to it than you have been allowed to believe. And God is real.
But this is starting to seem like it's heading down a very esoteric, occult-like road. And that doesn't necessarily mean it's wrong. I'm not saying it's wrong or right. I'm not trying to be biased to any kind of religion one way or another. But I just think it's important that people understand that this is the lens that Matthew Brown is looking at this from. Again, it could all be true. But he could also just be a religious, occult-like fanatic that is perhaps losing his mind. I'm not saying that's true either. He comes across as very genuine to me, but I just want to make people aware of this. Now, when it comes to the phenomenon, non-human intelligence, UFOs, the occult is no stranger. In fact, you could argue that the roots of all of this high strangeness comes from the occult. And this goes right back to beyond Aleister Crowley. In fact, when we talk about John Dee, John Dee's work is what inspired and influenced Aleister Crowley to do what he did, which went on to Jack Parsons, to L. Ron Hubbard, Scientology, maybe Dr. Hal Puthoff, and psionics, and we're all kind of talking about the same thing. We've all just got a different name for it. Kind of like religion, right? They all agree there's a God. They've all just got a different name for it. Oh, and by the way, before I forget, here's a picture of Aleister Crowley's son and Matthew Brown. I'm just going to leave that there. Now, if you don't know about any of that stuff, I did a full long hour breakdown on that. It looks like this. I'll leave a link to it below. Go and check that out after this video because it's a long, dark timeline that traces a long way back. So today we're going to be looking at Lifting the Lamp. He has spoken out since a lot of people have been contacting him after realizing the connection to Matthew Brown. We're going to look at what he has to say about it. And then we're going to look at him explaining the cipher, the sigilum meth. And then we're going to listen to him talking about Aborymon, which is apparently an archangel that signifies the end times.
Hi everybody. So if you follow me on Instagram or you're a subscriber on YouTube, you know who I am. If you don't and you're seeing this video, it's probably because you've seen a recent very strange post by Matthew Brown and you're looking for some answers about what that's all about. And I'm here to try and shed some light on a few things. That's because I'm the content creator who created the image of the strange circle with the letters in it that Matthew Brown screenshotted and used in his X post. And I'm also the one who popularized the term Aborymon. I'm a spiritual content creator, a student, and really a teacher of the Western esoteric tradition, trying to show people hidden spiritual knowledge. So that's the purpose of my social media platforms. And in response to Matthew Brown's post, I'm going to do a detailed video which I'll post on my YouTube channel in the next week, maybe 2, going into what those things that he's referred to from my channel really mean, the word Aborymon and that strange symbol. I was very surprised to see the word Aborymon pop up like that, because up until recently I was one of only 2 people on Earth who knew what it meant, so definitely needs an explanation. And there's a lot of other things that Brown refers to which have to do with esoteric topics, which I feel I can shed light on, having over 17 years experience studying and practicing that stuff. So that's coming. And so if you've been led here by Matthew Brown, welcome. I hope that you find my content interesting. I'm also a fellow truth seeker and truth spreader, and want to create an alternative to the kind of dark prison world that has been built around us. So I hope to communicate with all of you soon, and keep a lookout on my YouTube channel, Lifting the Lamp, for that response video. Thanks.
There you go. That was just posted in the last day, and I mean, this guy comes across as pretty genuine. You know, he's not over the top. It doesn't seem like he's talking outside of his lane, but the lane that he is in is pretty creepy. Maybe creepy isn't the right word, but it's like he's talking about breaking out of this dark prison world that we've built around us. And, you know, I'm sure we would all agree with that. Everyone who watches this channel probably feels the same way. But for some reason, when it gets spoken about in this like esoteric, occult, magic context, and understanding the roots of it all and where it came from, it is, you know, it kind of goes up from like believing closer to knowing. I'm not saying I do, but it's like a bit of a reality check. It's a massive reality check, even for most of us, I would say. Like a lot of people who are into UFOs and non-human intelligence are not also into the occult. Like that's kind of like a whole other rabbit hole here that maybe some of you don't even realize is very connected to all of this. And when this seems to be the vein where the truth is coming out from, that there is a truth to the occult and people like Aleister Crowley and Jack Parsons and the things that they were doing, it is a reality check. It is slightly, even for us, ontologically shocking. And you can only imagine how, if this came out massively, publicly, what kind of effect that would have on normies who just watch mainstream news and think their sports team is the most important thing in the world. It will break them. So the next clip I want to show you is from the actual video that Matthew Brown screenshotted. So we're going to have a look at this guy basically explaining what the sigilum Dei Meth is and how the cipher works.
There was one key aspect of the sigilum Dei Meth that I didn't talk about the last time due to its complexity, and that is the circumference. This bit here with the numbers and letters around the outside, because the way that you derive the various names of God that are hidden within this circumference is quite involved. But that's what I'm going to explain today. And in the process, I'm going to reveal a few other hidden mysteries about the Enochian system of magic that we can find within this sigilum, one of which has never been revealed before, and one of which is revealed in only a few places. The layers of the sigilum Dei Meth, like a series of concentric circles from the middle outward, talk about successive hierarchies of angelic beings, with the outermost layer or circumference of the diagram representing the very highest entities. And these are what are called the sevenfold names of God. And those 7 highest names, which govern the rest of the Enochian universe divided into 7, are what are hidden within this circumference of the sigilum. So basically, the few rules are, you've got these panels here around the circumference. You'll notice that some of them have got a number above a letter. Some of them have got a letter above a number. So if you have a panel where you have a number that appears above a letter, such as here, what that indicates is that you're supposed to count in a clockwise direction. The number that appears in the panel is the number of panels that you count in a clockwise direction. If the number appears underneath a letter, you're supposed to do the same process but in a counterclockwise direction.
Now you've got a little bit of an idea of how this sigilum Dei Meth works and how it's deciphered. What I want to point out quickly before we see him talk about Aborymon is the way that he spoke about the structure of the sigil, about how it's kind of layered from the outside in. It reminded me so much of what we see in Monsters of California, which is obviously a movie made by Tom DeLonge, where he shows the others, which is often how this other intelligence that seems to be interacting or manipulating us is referred to. And in this diagram, now remember, this is from a movie, but Tom DeLonge is very involved with high-level military people. And let's just take a note here that Lou Elizondo, who is connected to Tom DeLonge, has spoken a lot about the Collins elite, and they are supposedly a group of high-level government and military officials who view this stuff through a strong religious lens and believe that it is all demonic. Could that hyper-religious lens actually be an occult lens, similar to Matthew Brown? Because this setup looks very similar. On the outsides there, you can see consciousness and quantum mechanics are in the same layer. And on the inside of that layer, there are arrows pointing into the next layer, which has all of the well-known religions, which again, all have arrows pointing to angels, devas, demons, archons, and those all point into the others. Now, it's not totally clear exactly how this layout works and exactly what it means, but it's very similar, and I thought it was just worth highlighting, especially considering who and where it came from. Now let's learn about Aborymon, and if you think this video was weird already, well, put your seatbelt on because it's about to get a lot weirder.
What we know already about Aborymon is that there are these 7 angels of the circumference from the sigilum DMF in Enochian magic, which are the highest angelic principles in the whole Enochian system. They emanate directly from the greatest and highest 40-lettered or 40-figured name of God. And one of them each corresponds to one of the 7 planets, and although it's not clear which is which, but that is the sort of correspondence of them, and so they are these very high angelic beings. But since it occupies such a high level in the Enochian system, together with these very high-ranking angels of the circumference, it may very well still be a godly force, but perhaps operating in a kind of sinister way. And this fact and the etymological similarities between the names of the angel of destruction in the book of Revelation has led Aaron Leach, at least, to conclude that Aborymon is the same or similar to the angel known as Abaddon or Apollyon. This is the destroying angel in Revelation chapter 9, who leads the army of angels that emerges from the abyss. And the opening of the bottomless pit is, of course, also associated with the coming of the beast. In the book of Revelation, whose number is 666, the beast also emerges from the abyss. But whereas the beast is depicted as a kind of enemy of God, trying to undermine God's will and persecute God's faithful, on the contrary, although Abaddon or Apollyon emerges from this same abyss and presides over what appear to be demonic, or at the very least vengeful angelic beings, the function of Abaddon or Apollyon, as he's also known, is to actually punish the wicked and punish those who have not been sealed by God. So we have this dark force which is nevertheless harnessed for good ends. And I've also demonstrated that there is an association between Aborymon and the angel known as Para-Owan, who is associated with the fires that burst forth from the earth, from inside the earth, and also associated with the end times and the unfolding of that process of the fires coming up from the earth during the end times.
But now that this kind of stuff is out there, like Matthew Brown has to say something, has to come out and clarify this, or Jeremy Corbell, like you can't just lead people to this kind of stuff and then walk away. I mean, this needs to be clarified because it's quite clear the message he's sending. And remember, this isn't just his beliefs. Like the reason why this channel is so interesting is because this screenshot that Matthew Brown posted is of this guy's video. And in this guy's video, he's saying that he believes that he is one of 2 people in the whole world who have discovered this Aborymon name. And in fact, I think he even has another video where he believes he speaks to Aborymon. I'll make sure I leave a link to his channel down below as well, but we need clarification on this. And don't forget, in Matthew Brown's tweet that he signed off with Aborymon, that tweet was addressed to Elon Musk. It was addressed reaching out to Elon Musk after Musk's fallout with Trump. I mean, if these guys team up and this is kind of like the headspace they're thinking, like, what the hell does that mean? Well, where is that going to take us? Imagine if Elon Musk turns into a modern Aleister Crowley or Jack Parsons. What if Matthew Brown and Elon Musk start performing the Babylon working ritual to summon the Scarlet Woman to get revenge on Donald Trump for kicking him out of the government? Like, it sounds silly, but like, is this actually what's happening? Because it seems like it.
The other thing to consider as well is that this name appears outside of the system of 7. We have everything ordered and structured in a very neat fashion in a 7-fold division, and then we have this 8th outlier. And there are other parts of the Enochian system where it's very ordered and structured, and then there's this outlier, which represents chaos and disorder, and perhaps the lower forces under the command of God being unleashed into the world in some way. So coupled with all of this and the end time symbology of the number 666, we might suppose that the name Aborymon is also associated with the end times. It is associated with the forces of chaos, though under the command of God, unleashed at the end as part of the end times process, which explains why the name was hidden, because the name of this particular angel or heavenly being needed to be concealed until the appointed time of the end before it could be revealed again, which suggests that we're living in such times now.
The guy sounded like weirdly excited at the end there when he says we suggest we're living in those times now. I don't know. I mean, this guy's Australian. Maybe I could get him on the channel and we could have a chat one day. That would be cool. Let me know if you guys would like to see that. I can try and reach out to him. But I'm sure there are people out there who understand the occult and where this stuff comes from, maybe even from a more religious context as well. Let us know in the comments, guys, because that is the best thing about having this awesome community, is that you guys out there, some of you are way smarter than me. Some of you know a lot more than me, and I appreciate you guys getting in the comments, correcting me when I say something wrong, because that way I can learn as well. But it helps everyone learn. And so get in the comments, guys. Let me know what you're thinking. How do you feel about this? Does it make you feel good? Does it scare you? Or do you think it's all just bullshit? Either way, I think we need some confirmation from Matthew Brown pretty quickly. Thank you guys for watching today's video. I hope you're looking after yourselves. Take care. Please like the video if you enjoyed it. You can also become a member for $5 a month. It supports me directly. Until next time, guys, look after yourselves. Be good, be kind, get outside, touch grass, and I'll see you next time.
Eventually people are going to say, what the hell is going on?
No matter how far you go into the dark, when you flip, you go exactly the same place to the light.